It's not only a wet day in the north, it's a cold day in the north. Hence my need for pork products and a cup of tea. Hangover's got nothing to do with it. Anyway, thought I'd do some fun stuff today after the disappointment of last week. Focus on the rear end, fill in your own innuendo. Time to properly mark out where the lights, where the number plate's going to go on here, so I can start getting to this scary bit of cutting the body kit up a bit more. First things first, wanted to make sure that I've got the centre line marked out right, and I've got some sense of the dimensions of the back end as to where the lights are going to fit within that. So did a load more measuring with tape, Sharpie, tape measure, ruler, straight edges, just to make sure that I've got centre line perfect, and I can work out from there where everything else goes. These are the lights I'm going to be using. Another set, just like the front end, of fully E-marked LED sealed units. Again, fitting with that resto mod theme I'm going for. Very simple fittings, just a pair of M8s on the back and bare wires to wire up, so I'll need to put some plugs on those. And what I need to do is work out exactly where these are going to go on the back end, and start to think about some mountings for them as well. So I'm going to draw around these, create a few templates, and start to tape them up on the back end. Quick trip to Hobbycraft a couple of weeks ago. Bought a stack of card for a bit of old school CAD. Like this. All 4 units are the same size. That's not a very good circle. 2 obviously brake and rear lights, fog light, reversing light. There we go. Okay, that's my first pass. What do you think? I think they are too close to the middle. They could be pushed out further. That does mean more fiberglass work to make it effectively build up around them out here, but we can shuffle them out a bit. They're spread apart like that because there has to be 10 centimeters between the lights, according to the rules. That doesn't seem to be true of most production cars, but I'm pretty sure it says 10 centimeters between the lights, although I'm going to double check that in a minute just to make sure I've not misread it and it's 10 millimeters. But even though it's not right, it's a long way from right, I don't hate it. It does open up some questions about the number plate though. You could only fit a square number plate in the middle there. You couldn't fit the full width one. And the full width one is what I plan to go for, partly because it would give me more room to hide charging ports behind. So I pushed the lamps a bit further out. I think I definitely prefer that. Sorry I can't give you a head-on shot, but there's a car in the way just here, which makes it kind of tricky. You may be able to see the water dripping through the roof. It's properly throwing it down out there. But yeah, I think I prefer that. I think that's kind of the right spacing. I think they're at the right height as well. The only rule on that is that they have to be more than 35 centimeters from the ground. I need to check that will be the case, but I'm pretty sure it will be. We just run a, and obviously the car is not on the ground, but yeah, if they're not 35 from the ground, it's going to be very, very low indeed. I think we'll get away with that. So yeah, I'd love to know what you think, but for me, that looks about right for the spacing. So I need to firm that up, and yeah, scarily, maybe start thinking about what that looks like from a fiberglass perspective. I realise that's not perfectly centred, and it's also not a very nice number plate. I've just pulled that off the old bumper. I have got some new ones to go on. But that shows one of the options for where the number plate could go. One of the more straightforward options, it sits nicely along that line with the lights, and it also would be the best place for creating space for charging points behind it. I put it in a case which gives me a little bit more room, and the idea being that this would be sat flush, it would be very slightly recessed into the bumper, so it sits straight, and it would be on some sort of catch so it can flip down or flip up, and then I've got space for multiple charging points behind, because I'm probably going to want DC fast charging, I'm probably going to want a Type 2 AC, and probably my current Type 1 as well. So I can just keep using my charger at home. I have no plans to upgrade that. It's perfectly fast enough for what I need. So that's definitely one option for where the number plate goes. The other option is to go a bit more E-type and drop it right down the bottom. I'll see if I can find some way to tape it up in a way that might look like that. It's not going to be easy. I'll be honest, this bit's proving pretty hard to describe in cardboard. When I was talking about the E-Type earlier, the first gen E-Type, particularly those that have got no bumpers, there's effectively a cutout here where the number plate sits, which would look kind of cool. And it's a different car, and I can't remember which car it is, but instead of that there's a sort of arch here cut into the bumper, with sort of sloped sides, maybe curved, maybe straight. So it sort of comes in from the curve here, and it's cut out. So there's an overhang here. There's a sort of overhanging lip here, and the number plate sits under that. Your lights can come in from the top or come in from the side. So effectively, I'd have to sort of cut a chunk of the rear out here. And build a sort of fibreglass piece, this sort of shape, that tucks in back, so the number plate would sit tucked in flat. Imagine just sort of cutting off so that's flat, but then just recessing it in slightly, so that it's there. I've got no idea if that makes any sense at all, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. And I'll take you under the car now, because then you can see actually how that might work quite well. Welcome under the car, where I finally have a light fitted to a camera so you can actually see what I'm shooting. And what you can see here, this is the rear side of the body panel. This is the inner bumper of the original Z3, which I've just transferred across, so we get a real sense of scale. And originally I thought actually if the number plate was at the middle here, that's going to give me the most space, because that's where it sticks out the most. And so you've got about 15 centimeters of depth there where I could put charge ports across here. But actually if we come down here and do the cutout, and you can see the bottom of my piece of paper here, if we were to cut out here, we've still got plenty of space actually that would come under the bumper here. If I can get the camera a bit further back, would come under the bumper quite possibly, under the inner bumper, and give us loads of room here for charge ports. And actually the nature of the things here, we can always put some bits of equipment. We could quite easily tuck a charger up here or something, and save some space in the front, albeit still don't entirely know what I'm doing with with battery packs in the back here. That's still proving complicated, but nonetheless I think either position will give plenty of room for charge ports, and the lower one might work equally well, I think, as long as I don't recess things back too far. If my number plates are sort of this height, there's almost potentially unlimited this height, there's potentially almost unlimited space, and something's going to foul. But anyway, there should be plenty of room for charge ports to sit behind a number plate that's tucked in about here, and facing forward. and then plenty of space to put my mechanism as well, for the plate to flip up or down to access the charge ports. So I'm really quite pleased with that as an exercise. It's given me a lot of confidence about the layout. I think it's going to look really good. Still some working out, still some measuring to do, but I'm kind of ready to start cutting. But before I do, I'll wait for your feedback. I'll be really interested to know what people think. I might rush this video out a bit early just so I can get that feedback. Although next week I'm not going to be doing much on this. Next week I absolutely have to laser focus on getting the trailer roadworthy, getting the scrap car stripped down, finish stripping the bits I want out of that, getting the scrap car onto the trailer, maybe even getting it off to the scrap yard so it's just out of here and I've got a bit more space. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Catch you on the next one. Bye bye.